Schomburg. And now we're live. Hello, this is Chelsea Franklin, head of the Franklin team with Remax Alliance. I'm here with Bohart Schomburg.
Hi, Chelsea.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks
Good.
for having me here today.
Yeah, this is great. Well, we've never talked about insurance, and it's like probably one of the most important things that you need in your life. So,
Especially when you're buying a new home, for sure.
Yeah, it's like the biggest asset that anybody can place their parks and money in. So maybe we talk about what you can do to help the people with their property insurance.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, fire away if you've got some questions.
Awesome. So good. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you general questions that I have because this is an area that is not my expertise. Replacement cost versus actual cash value. Can you explain the two differences of that?
So the main difference between replacement cost and actual cash value really is if something is based on an actual cash value basis, your structure or your personal belongings. Basically, an actual cash value takes the replacement cost, which is what it actually takes to replace that item, and then it marks it down for depreciation. So depending on how old either the home is or your personal belongings, or even more importantly, probably in Colorado, the roof, you're going to get dinged on the age of that roof or the structure or your personal belongings. So they just depreciate that from the replacement cost. So it's always important to make sure that one, your home is based on a replacement cost basis, which normally it is, and your personal belongings will be covered at a replacement cost basis versus an actual cash value. And very importantly, especially in Colorado, your roof. We see it a lot that your roof is based on an actual cash value. And if you're taking your depreciation and then minus your deductible, a lot of times you're going to be coming out of pocket for those increased expenses to replace your roof.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Is there a certain percentage, like when I'm out with clients and they're like trying to we're doing quick calculations on mortgage apps, can't get a hold of the lender. Okay, here's your taxes. Is there a percentage that I can say, hey, this is the average for Colorado, or is that
for the homeowner's premium?
Yeah. So if we're just, because with the lending side, I mean, you have to carry property insurance. It's just like one of the steps that the lender requires property insurance. So if we're running a rough calculation prior to getting a number from the lender, like 1%, or how can I help them with that value?
There's not really a way to do that based on a percentage. There's so many factors that go into your homeowner's insurance. Obviously, the value of the structure that we're trying to insure, your location, the zip code is big, which has to do with maybe the claims history in that zip code, the loss rate in that zip code.
Okay.
And then also, depending on the company, usually your credit, and if you have any prior losses at a prior residence or something like that, it's really difficult to peg it based on a percentage without actually just kind of running a proposal. Generally, your insurance agent should be able to run you a pretty quick proposal. It should be pretty painless to do that. Just some basic information, a name, birth date, and an address. Usually you can get it pretty quick. Proposal.
That's one thing that I haven't been very good at up front with my clients is communicating with the insurance agent. That always just seems to be like a secondary last minute underwriting condition that we need to meet. Oh yeah, get your insurance. But it's obviously such a huge part of it. We need to involve you a lot faster.
It is. I mean, that's something that we try and do at our agencies. We really try and get involved with the customer, and whether we provide them a proposal and whether at the end of the day, if they decide to go with us or not, we really just try and be a resource for them. They can pick our brain and, just make sure that they've got the best coverages. And we're even happy to do comparisons of other companies that they're getting, and just make sure that they're getting the proper coverages that they need.
Yeah.
Like you said, that asset of the home is probably the largest purchase up to this point that they've made, and the largest asset that they're going to hold.
Yeah. I think you kind of touched on this briefly in the first question, but the homeowner's insurance, does that cover all of your items, or is that something additionally that you need to make sure is covered?
It does, yes. So a standard homeowner's policy will cover your personal belongings. Like I said, you just want to make sure that those are covered at at a replacement cost basis versus an actual cash value. That is a tactic that some companies will use to get the premium lower, but at the end of the day, if you've got a claim, you're just not going to be happy with the outcome of that claim if you're at an actual cash value basis. I think that we're frozen. Shoot, I'm not sure if we're still live. Let's see. Hey, sorry about that. I don't know if that was my end or your end.
It was definitely me. I didn't charge my computer. Okay, I don't even know if we're still live or not.
I think we are live. It says it's streaming.
Oh, this is okay. We're still streaming. Oh, look at that. We're still live. Okay. Well, that's the beauty of live.
You never know what you're gonna get.
This is great. Okay. Okay. So definitely covered your stuff. Last question: liability coverage.
So this one's a big one. This is important, and a lot of folks don't realize that this is covered on their homeowners insurance policy. So the personal liability coverage that generally is attached to a homeowner's policy is basically if somebody's going to get injured on your property, or somebody might get injured or property damage based on your actions. And this can be extended to, if you're a dog owner, if you're at the park and your dog bites somebody, anything like that. If you're a golfer, if you slice one off and you whack a house or something. I mean, this is all these things that your personal liability coverage will cover. We in our agency, we always recommend to have an umbrella as well, a personal umbrella that extends that liability just to make sure you're covered, especially if you've got especially in the Denver market, the average home price is upwards of above $500,000. If your standard homeowners policy usually only covers $300,000 in personal liability. So you could find yourself on the hook for the end of that, that other $200,000 if you're trying to protect your home in the event of a judgment due to something that, you did where there was either property damage or bodily injury.
Wow. Okay. Do you have to, this might be like super basic questions. So sorry if I'm asking something really dumb, but like obviously swimming pools like that cost more, right? What about like trampolines?
So depending on the company, some homeowners policies in the black and white, and you may never know, there may be an exclusion for trampoline liability. Farmers Insurance does not hold an exclusion for trampoline liability or pool liability as well. But if there's a homeowner that has a pool or a trampoline, it's a good idea to get with your insurance agent and make sure that you've got proper liability coverage. If we've got a homeowner that has a pool, we most certainly strongly encourage them to carry a personal umbrella. There's a lot of liability there, especially with kids. And, you get kids around a pool. I mean, you just, you never know what you're going to get.
Never know. Yeah, it's one of these things where you just like have to prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Will you explain what an umbrella policy is? What does that encompass?
So typically the umbrella policy is just an extension of that personal liability on your homeowners and also your auto liability. And I would make the argument that most people, probably most of their liability exposure really is on the road. You're probably more likely to get in an auto accident than you are to have a personal liability case related to something that you've done personally outside of your vehicle.
Yeah.
So an umbrella policy will extend that liability out, whatever, and usually they're in $8 million increments of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, so on and so forth. We'll extend that personal liability out just so you've got coverage. So if you're in an accident, if you're at fault, you just make sure that you have proper coverage for any property damage or bodily injury that you may have caused.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. Okay, thank you for your time. Sorry about my computer glitch.
No worries. No, thanks, Chelsea. I'm glad. And if there's any other questions or concerns, please invite me back. I'm happy to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to tag all of your contact information in the description. Everyone reach out to Bo. He's the man. He's fast. He gives out his personal cell phone number, which I think
That's right. That's right. That and Schomburg-Insurance.com. If you have, just like I said, we're just happy to be a resource. If you have questions or concerns, please let us know.
Yeah, might as well get multiple quotes. That's one thing too. Like even when shopping for rates with lenders, I mean, it's typical to shop a couple of places. So like definitely make sure that you're getting the proper coverage we talked about.
Definitely, you just want to make sure you are properly covered. I mean, there's a lot of tactics that agencies and insurance companies will use to try and cut premium. And like I think I said before, when you're involved in a claim, to find out that you weren't covered for something that you think that you should be covered for, it's kind of a rude awakening sometimes.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. All right. Have a wonderful day. Great Colorado day.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Chelsea.
Yep. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.